My semester 1 projects. The first project I did was with Callie. We worked on the filament clip for the 3D printer's spools. When you go to change the spools out, they like to unspool themselves. So as a solution, we came up with different designs to hold the filament in place on the spool. We had several different designs on this first one. There's a couple. There's a like paperclip style on the second one, and it has kind of our final design. But it's on this third one. This is the final design we went with, kind of like a B-shaped musical note. Fits on the side of the spool to hold the filament in place. We then took it into AutoCAD to add the dimensions and sizes that we wanted, make sure it looked correct. I then brought it into Inventor and 3D modeled it. Then we made our first prototype. It was big in the width where the would go on the spool and also where the filament goes. As you can see it on the spool, and then here's the bigger printer. We made a total of 5 prototypes, all varying in closeness to the final product. The final one, we doubled up in thickness to see how big we wanted it. Then we started to 3D print. We had a little bit of trouble with the 3D printer. We had to recalibrate it several times to make sure that it was perfectly aligned. And then also we had some scaling issues with Cura. The STL file was saved wrong, and the scaling came out wrong. It was a lot smaller in Cura than what it should have been. We fixed it, and the final product came out like this. Holds everything just fine, looks fine. The second project I worked on was my phone and watch stand for my Apple Watch and my phone. I had a couple different designs. I then went with this one. I thought it looked the best and would fit what I wanted to do the best. I brought in AutoCAD, made all the dimensions because I was unsure about a couple things, and drew it out. After deciding all of that, I made the inventor model, as you can see here. I made it, and when I made the inventor model is when I decided that I wanted to have a quote on it. I ended up doing a quote on both sides, which is not in the model, but the quotes say, on the one side, every day we die to be born better than next. And the other side is a quote from Callie saying, not all of my problems can be solved with a 3D printer and laser cutter. After making the model, I then made a bunch of AutoCAD files and laser cut out the pieces and started making a prototype. The first prototype you see here at the top was too large, the circle was too big, the phone slot was a little tight from width-wise, depth it was fine. This little notch for the edge of my case was too shallow. So I made the second model, which was was a lot more accurate than the first one. After doing all that, I started the process of making the final product. I cut out pieces, etched in the text, and started gluing everything together. Here's it completed. Here is the first prototype, second prototype, and final project next to each other. After building the final product, I then stained it and painted in the text with white paint. I then, after doing that, decided that I wanted to give it a more rustic look and to get rid of the paint that had spilled over from inside the engraving. And this is the result of that. You see it looks nice finish. The next project I have started working on is my custom chess set that I have made out of the simple machines. With this, I thought of the kind of usefulness of machine and powerfulness of the chess pieces. The most efficient simple machine, the screw, is the queen because it is the strongest piece. The next most one of the next most efficient is the pulley, so the rook. Bishop is the inclined plane. The king is a lever. Knight is a wheel and axle, and then the pawn is a wedge. Now, to state first, this project is not done. It is in the making, so after deciding what I want the pieces to be, I then started to model them. These are two pieces for the king. Here is the third piece, that is the axle, the hinge part. And then this is the base of the knight. Here is the wheel of the knight, the bishop, the pawn, the screw part of the queen's base, and the rook with its pulleys. Here is all of them next to each other. I also have the assembly files for the king. So this will be able to rotate in the final print. The queen, I will have it to where the queen will be able to screw in and out of place. The rook, which is not assembly file, it's all in -1, I will then, after it's done printing, I will tie string around it to make as if it will move. And then the knight, which will rotate, which I am going to add a horse head to it to add the aspect of the knight. So that's really it so far. What I've got with this project, I've had a couple drawing files done. Now to side projects. So the first side project is keychains. For the open house for the high school, Mr. West had me and Callie to make some Steelman stem keychains, which we did. We had to figure out some of the settings with Adobe since it was the beginning of the year, and we'd learn how to use all that. And also we had to fix the order that the keychains were cut in. They were made to cut all the way through the front side, flip it, and cut the back side, but that wasn't efficient, and then the hole would be over text on the back. So we had to change the order. The next project I did was also keychains, but for the student showcase. I fixed the order that the keychains were cut in, so when they cut back to front, the holes were cut out on, back to front, and the holes were cut out on the front, but the actual shape was cut out on the back, making it a lot easier. Here is the process of them being cut in job control, and then here are some of the finished keychains. I also had to do acrylic ones, which I did not get pictures of the complete product. Another side project that there wasn't a lot of pictures of was me and Kelly went through and cleaned all of the print cores and print beds of the Ultimakers and made sure they were all in working order. That is the end of my semester 1 project overview.